Well, good evening, everyone. It's great to be with you here this evening. My name is Trent Barnhart. I represent Pleasants, Ritchie, Wood, and Worth counties in the West Virginia State Senate. And it is my honor and privilege to be able to serve you in that role. I was recently appointed back in January to that role when Senator Boley retired. And I've been trying to get the lay of the land, really get out in our community to see what some of the issues are and see how I can be of help. Before I go too far, I just want to publicly thank Mayor Emmerich for having this event. This is excellent. You know, it's so important to have opportunities to talk to the public and to talk about things that we're working on as your local leaders, and to be able to give you the opportunity to ask questions, the opportunity to hear what's important to you and what we should try to address in our daily roles serving in your government. As far as with my situation, I do serve on 6 committees in the Senate. I'm on the Energy Committee, the Finance Committee, the Economic Development Committee, the Education Committee. I'm on the Confirmations Committee, and then I'm also Vice Chair of Senate Banking and Insurance. So it's a busy time when we're down there. We just recently completed our legislative session, and things went pretty well. One thing that I try to do when I'm outside of session, because I used to serve in the House of Delegates prior to serving in this role, I really try to get out in the community and hear from people, go to local events, go to civic organizations, and most importantly, hear from stakeholders on the different issues. That way I can be well informed when I go back to Charleston and try to make good decisions for the people of our communities. And with that, I did want to talk about a couple of things we did work on during the session that I thought were critical for the state and for our people. We passed Senate Bill 1, which is the Small Business Growth Act. That bill was important for providing good access to capital for our small business owners. I can tell you as a commercial banker, professionally, that's one of the biggest things that our small businesses struggle with is access to that capital. So that was an important bill that we took on. Another bill that was critical was the personal income tax reduction bill that we passed, which was 5% PIT reduction. That was Senate Bill 392. And since 2023, I'm proud to report that West Virginia has reduced the personal income tax by almost, I believe, 32% in the last 3 years. So that represents, that along with some other tax reductions, represents about a $1.4 billion reduction in taxes to the people of West Virginia. So I'm personally pretty proud of that. I know many of my colleagues are proud of that. We want to decrease the tax burden as much as we can, make sure that we operate smaller government, not bigger government. So that was important. We also passed, I know, the child care tax credit, House Bill 4191, which that's very important to try and help with our families, you know, to make sure that they have the access to the child care that they need, and certainly to incentivize employers to provide those types of options. Another item I would definitely mention that was critical was our work on site readiness with our business ready site program. We expanded that this year to try and make sure that we have sites that are ready for development. You know, we want to have new economic development opportunities in our state. Right here in our community is a good place to start. We're working on some of those items. Those are just a few bills that we did take up this year that I think are critical. There's a lot more work to be done. In many ways, you start with infrastructure, you look at other economic development matters. One thing that I try to do when we're not in session is really try to work with our local leaders. One thing I did when I was in the House, I always had a municipal listening tour. I went to every community that I served, and I tried to get out there and hear what those issues were, that I could work on from the state level, and make sure that they know, that all of our communities know, that you have someone who's willing to help pull the rope for you in Charleston in any way I possibly can. So, like I say, for me, that's a little bit about my update that I wanted to give. The biggest thing I want to tell you is, at the end of the day, and I also meant to mention, in the budget this year, we did get a nice win for Wood County. We've got some funding coming to help with Mountain Park. Been working with our commissioners on that, and that was also something that's really good for Wood County that we're working on. And, you know, I'll say that, and I will also say that the biggest thing with me, you're going to get accessibility and transparency and availability. If I can ever be of help for you when it comes to working with our state agencies or working on road issues or anything I can do, my card's always available, my email's always ready, and my phone is always ready to get a call from you. Because at the end of the day, I feel if I'm going to represent you well, I have to spend time with you, I have to hear from you, and have to be available to be able to address your concerns. So I do apologize. I had another event planned for tonight, but I wanted to make a special trip to be able to be here with you guys and say hello, provide a little bit of an update, just introduce myself, and like to say, it's good to be with you. If you have any questions afterwards, you can always ask the mayor. He'll give you my cell phone number. Always happy to be available to the people of Wood County and our district. So thank you all for coming tonight, and appreciate the opportunity to speak to you.
Senator, we thank you for taking the time and coming and sharing with us tonight. As we look towards what I consider from my office, what are my operational objectives, that I try to go in every day and say, what can I affect? And when I took office, I was unaware of, just what the scope would be. And it didn't take long to be able to pinpoint 3 very specific things that from my office and my staff, we try to achieve. The first of that is information management, getting information out to the people so that they can have all of the critical updates that they need. So many times we heard, we don't know what's going on, we don't know what projects are being worked or what the status is. So we have tapped into various levels of social media, through the live feeds, through the live updates, through just the announcements, so that individuals can get that. Tonight, you are here as part of a town hall to be able to extend that same level of knowledge. You can gather it, you can retain it, then you can take it and do what? You can share it with those in our community. So many times we come into contact and somebody may not know what's going on. Is there anybody that's not on Facebook? Who doesn't have a Facebook? A couple? So for the majority, we across the board have access to social media, and we try to use that as best we can. We also utilize our local news sources through WTAP and Parkersburg News, and they've been very responsive to us when we give them information. Or they call and they ask us simply, what do you have going on today? And we have been trying to be very accommodating to them so that they can report on what is important, what is going on right now, so that people get that information. Customer service. I brought all of our employees together at various times by department. And I stressed to them the point that in office, in service, we are in a customer service industry. We are here to take care of the residents and business owners that call Vienna home, regardless of who they are, where they come from, what their beliefs are, what their party affiliations are, regardless of any of that. We are to provide them with the highest level of customer service that we can. It was interesting, of course, when I met with Public Works. That is a service that does not get its fair share of credit. The men and women that make up our Public Works Department are absolutely incredible. And unfortunately, they don't get called when you're having your best day. No one could. Craig, has anybody ever called Public Works just to talk? Just to say, buddy, how are you doing? It might have been Carl. But then he said, well, I got you on the phone. So nobody calls Public Works, and Public Works doesn't show up to somebody's house, to drop off flowers and candy. It's because of what? A water line's busted, a sewer line's backed up, a tree's fallen, something bad has happened. So I stressed to, and they were very receptive to the idea that when you show up, you are talking to individuals on their worst day that it could be at that particular time. And they may be angry, they may be upset, they may be a whole lot of stuff. But it's not directed at you. You are not the one that caused their water line to break. You are not the one that caused their sewer to back up. You are not the one that caused the problem. However, you are there to resolve their need. And regardless of what department it is, whether it's Public Works, whether it's the parks, whether it's the police department, whether it's the fire department, whether it's the senior center, wherever, finance, personnel. When we engage with one another and we engage with our community, we want to provide the highest level of customer service to you. We do that by answering the phone. We do that by returning emails and returning calls. We do that by scheduling time for you to come in. Many individuals know I have a complete open door policy. If there is anything that you want to discuss with me, you can call and talk to my wonderful executive assistant, Teresa, and she will schedule you a time to get on, to be able to see me. If I'm there and I'm available, I will bring you right up. If I'm not there, please take time, schedule the time, and I will be there, and you and I will have those very important conversations. And at times, there have been a need for me to bring others into those conversations. It might be Craig, it might be now Chief Cole. Let's take a moment. Does everybody know our new Chief of Police, Chief Joshua Cole? We are very proud and very glad to have Chief Cole leading our department. He brings a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of great ideas, and just a great man of integrity. So we're very, very lucky to have him at the helm. But we may have to pull these individuals in because I'm not going to have all of the answers. However, I can know who to contact and to be able to provide you with that. And that's what we try to do. Provide customer service to you when you need it so that it matters. And the last thing that we provide is accountability. Many of you may see me out driving around, and I go to the work sites, I go to the various things to be able to not check up and to babysit individuals, but to know what's going on. I found it very interesting the first time I showed up to a water main break and they were replacing a valve. I had no idea that that valve was 6 feet underground. Did anybody else know that just in general? It down there. You know, I'm thinking a valve, right? Lefty loosey, righty tighty, pop it out, and you're done. But I learned very quickly by coming and observing and learning about what those guys do, about what makes up those services. Then I am also there to ensure that we're answering the need. Whether someone calls in from the community and says, I have an issue, I've got this going on, and I'm out, or I will make a special effort, and I will go and validate that what we agreed to do, what we said we were going to do, we actually did. In the way of our employees, you know, there are very basic principles that we hold them to. Be where you're at, when you're supposed to be there, doing the job you're supposed to do. And that's the levels of accountability that we bring in. And that's very important when it comes to the overall operation of our city. So as we look at the progress of projects and some various things that we have going on, when we transitioned into the new administration, we tried to identify, myself and council, tried to identify items that we needed to address. Things that we needed to update, projects we needed to complete, and promises we needed to make good on. The first of which, when we got into business, was the bridges at Jackson Park. Does anybody remember these bridges? Right? We remember these. I raced down this on a bicycle as a kid. And this bump got bigger and bigger. But these bridges were decades old. And we brought together a plan on how we were going to not just fix these, but how we were going to put new bridges in. And that's exactly what we did. Your council came together and we replaced what you just saw, this. And if you look closely, you can see one in the background, with what was placed in. These bridges are absolutely incredible and they're beautiful. We had them done locally and installed, and they will be here to service generations to come. So we were very happy to do that. Another thing that got brought to our attention was the bathrooms at the McDonough Wildlife Refuge. Had anybody used these bathrooms before? Was it scary? But it was a little bit, you know, when you walked in, you were like, this is my worst case scenario in a restroom. And there was just a lot of stuff going on. At one time, they were beautiful bathrooms, I'm sure. But over the years, they just came under neglect. We had insulation falling from the ceiling, fixtures that didn't work, concrete that was broken up, sinks that, you know, barely ran, concrete around the outside of it that was broken, flooding that was coming into it. We originally looked at this project, and it was estimated at about $300,000 because they were going to do a complete tear out of this and do some other things. So we looked at that and said, that's a little much. How can we do this? How can we give the city something that they deserve, something that our residents and area visitors can use? And we went back to the drawing table and we did. So what you can see now on the screen is a completely rehab restroom facility at the McDonough Wildlife Refuge, and it was done a little less than at half of that projected cost. So I was very pleased when we did this. Now you can go out, and this is an older picture, and there were other updates to it, and it looks much greener and grassy around it. And there's also the installation of a large water fountain and some other features. But we did that for our residents. We provided this to them so that they could go enjoy. If you've not been to the McDonough Wildlife Refuge, there is a large walking track that is there. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's a beautiful place to be. And this is an enhancement that we needed to do for our residents to make that happen. Now, a topic that had been discussed for years and years and years was Vienna's access to the river. Vienna has one of the largest accesses of riverfront as a city can along the Ohio River itself. And after all these years, there was no place publicly that you could get down and touch the water, that you could put a kayak in, that you could fish from, that you could just enjoy the river. That is one of our biggest assets, is the Ohio River. Several years ago, the previous administration under Mayor Rapp started the process of getting the funds and securing the funds. Amy, how long did that take actually?
4 years.
4 years ago is when this process got started. So the process got started and we were awarded a grant, a flat grant of $350,000. Well, when conversations first started to come up about this and we got information from the engineering firm, this came in and the first bid out was, Craig, was it like 800,000-ish, 900,000? I was able to, 900,000, which was unobtainable at that point. Really a great idea, but not obtainable with the money that we had. Taking office, I met with Craig Metz, and I said, please go back to the engineer firm, and along with Jack Mack. Jack, you were part of that conversation too, weren't you? It said, go back to the engineering firm, and we need something that will meet our needs and can meet our budget. They went back to them. We were all kind of wondering what would happen, and when they went back to them, they did in fact bring us a plan that fit our budget. We were very happy with that, and we started to make progress with what was going on. Unfortunately, about the same time that we were getting ready to start on that new plan, we had a government shutdown. So we were, right in the midst of, let's go move dirt. And they said, what? You can't move dirt. You can't actually really do a whole lot right at the present time. You can move a little bit of dirt, but you can't do a lot. Once we worked through that, I made a couple of trips to Charleston. We secured additional funds because prices went high, and the government gave us some additional funds to be able to offset that, which we're very grateful for. We were able to start on the Neal Island riverfront with the kayak area. Many people, when you talk to them about a kayak launch, they think little ramp, little dock, put your kayak in and go out. If you have not taken an opportunity and been down to the 12th Street area to look at this, I encourage you to do so. This is not just a simple kayak launch. It is exactly meeting the intent, and it is exactly what we agreed on to put in. But when you look at it and scale to where we're at, it is so much more. So what you're looking at here, this is the farthest point in River's Edge is down here. All of this concrete area has been brought in to secure the bank. And this pad that you see is 14 feet wide along this area and 10 feet wide down to the river. This will give our residents, our visitors, our business owners, whoever wants the opportunity to go down and they can actually touch the water. Now, Spencer's Landing is beautiful. It's a gorgeous area to go down and be able to enjoy the river, but you can only get so close. You can try to get closer, but I probably wouldn't suggest it. But here, you will be able to get down to River's Edge. We got about a quarter way through the project, and we already started seeing not just one or two people down fishing and enjoying it, but we saw dozens of people that were doing this. This is an area that you look at from the top. So what you can see here, and I know the scale's hard to make out, but this is 10 foot wide that goes down to the river's edge. This is a 14 foot wide pour that's going to come up and it disappears, right? It goes all the way around, and that will be to the end of 12th Street. This will enable those that have physical disabilities to be able to get down to the water, fully ADA compliant, and provide River's Edge river access for the very first time in the history of Vienna. This has been a group project from the very beginning. The previous administration started it, and we were able to put it together and actually take action to be able to bring this to fruition. This will be a very, very used attraction in the city of Vienna. So we're very happy to see that. You also see the talk and the conversation of Spencer's Landing. This has been a conversation point for many years. This year, your city council took steps and actually set forth and agreed for the first 2 task orders that will be to put a stage area here. This is a multi-use space, but we're focusing on the stage. Then this drawing has changed a little bit. There will be a large restroom facility here and a road and walking area connecting the stage to the main parking area that you have. For the first time, we now have something that's obtainable. We have those task orders. We've approved those task orders, and our engineering firm is now working on what they will bring to us so that your city council can vote and support to bring this to fruition. You will then be able to go to Spencer's Landing and enjoy the wonderful venue of the Ohio River with some of the most incredible facilities that we can provide. With that, there's also a lot of conversation about the industrial side of John Manville. Now, if you've not really looked, and you see this line I put there that's not really there, this is what the industrial side looks like. Everything has been removed as far as structure on that side. What you see to the left, Craig Metz and the Public Works crew have been working very diligently over the last year to remove everything down to level ground to the concrete, and this is being converted into usable parking space that will support Spencer's Landing. If you go and look at it now, you can see the work. The long-term plan, once that is completely level, is to pave over top of this with existing concrete already doing the base. So we're very happy to see that. Now, what's not so nice is this side right here. This is what I have considered the apocalypse. If you have not been down and looked at this, this is where a lot of the main factory was. There's a lot of void space and hollow cavities. There's a lot of debris and brokenness and instability. So the question is, what are we going to do with that? How are we going to actually make this into something? This year, working with the Wood County Economic Development Authority, I requested from Congressman Moore's office an earmark with City Council. And we received $1 million in an earmark that's going to go towards the cleanup of this area. That money was approved. It was included in the budget. The paperwork that we're told about will hit this summer. Then in the fall, we should be able to have the money. And Craig, are we anticipating putting this out for bid during the summer?
Yes.
So it will go out to bid, and you will see a lot of construction going, or destruction, I should say, down in this area. And they plan to have a large machine that's going to come in. They'll chunk it up, shoot it in, and they'll make big chunks of concrete, little chunks of concrete. And that area will finally be usable, or at least at the present time, be able to turn it into green space and not the mess that you see down there today. So we're very happy about that. One of our newest projects that we've brought online is the development of the Vienna Recreation Soccer Facility. 4 years ago, Vienna City Council decided that they would put baseball on one side of the field, and they would dedicate the other, where field 4 is, and our T-ball fields, to soccer. Over time, some things got developed and some things were taken out of that area to be able to do that, but we have not made much progress. This year, after the summer season, we are actually going to start development on this area here. The plan is to develop this into usable green grass soccer space. Then once this is developed, we'll then move on to the full-sized regulation. Harry, what is it? 80 by 120. This is full scale. It will be the first full-scale soccer field that I know of in the area. Is there anyone anywhere else? And we are very grateful. Harry, through his foundation, made funds available to us that's kicking this off, and we're going to be able to give our kids in our community a usable soccer field that's dedicated to them. So we're very grateful to see that. In the way of our fiscal overview, you can see that we originally passed a budget of just over $13 million that we're currently functioning in right now. 24-26, our general fund balance, and I put this, we don't refer to it like this, but it helps explain it. This is our checkbook. There's currently a balance of $2.1 million in what you and I would consider the checkbook. In our capital reserves, that's what you and I would consider our saving account. We're roughly at $10.8 million in capital reserve. So as you can see from those numbers, the city is fiscally very well off. We do an excellent job managing our funds through budget and finance. Henry sits and chairs that. I'm on that along with Rod Smith. And that budget is very well managed, and we are in a very good fiscal position. Looking at where we were year to date in spending, last year on the 31st, March 31st, 25, we had roughly spent $8.7 million, almost $8.9 million last year. This year, through program management in FY 25-26, as of the same time this year, we are roughly at $8.3 or $8.4 million. So we've had a reduction of spending of just about $400,000 from where we were last year to where we were this year. Now we did that not by cutting programs, not by firing people, not by, not funding various things. We did that through responsible spending. And by responsible spending, we looked at where are the best deals? Where can we get what we need, and how can we provide our needs without having to spend a greater amount of money. Through that fiscal responsibility, through that management, we have reduced that spending. Yes, we'll continue to have spending. We've got basically 2 months left in this FY, and then we'll begin again. Our goal when it comes to fiscal management is to spend your money. It is your money that is paid through the various sources that we get. The 16% we get from real estate taxes, B&O taxes, and other revenue sources. We have a responsibility to manage that. And we take that very seriously and look for ways that we can save money and quite literally get the biggest bang for our buck. So that gives us an overview of where we're at in the municipality. At this time, Liz, if you'll come and share with us a little bit about what's going on with the senior center. And a show of hands again, how many people have been to the senior center? I went this past week and they were doing, what do they call it? Drum Zumba?
Cardio drumming.
Cardio drumming. And there was a packed house. And they were quite literally rocking the house. And Luvia, who's our instructor, does a fabulous job, but I'm going to let you actually. I'm not going to talk about your game.
That's the
Right there. Yep.
All right. All right. Well, hello. It's nice to see so many engaged citizens come out tonight, and several members of the senior center. Real quick, if you don't know, I would not have a job if it weren't for Bruce Rogers, because when he was on council, he actually got them the facility. Was that 2007, Bruce, when you guys left from the church? Yeah. So anyway, updates on the senior center. As of 2025, we had 200 members, give or take, approximately. And the majority come from Vienna, Parkersburg, but we do accept any senior 55 plus from the Mid-Ohio Valley. And the reason for that is we offer things that other senior centers don't, and other senior centers offer things that we don't. So I can cooperate with those other senior center directors, and maybe somebody wants to play bingo. Well, we don't do bingo, but Belpre does. And Wood County is state funded, so they do Meals on Wheels and rides to medical appointments. So I like having that cross communication between the senior centers so we can get as much resources and just good fun things for seniors as possible. Our mission, we strive to provide educational and wellness programs to senior citizens. The Vienna Senior Center is a place for community, and I really like to have a focus on joy. We work our entire lives, you raise your children, you deserve to have a place to come and have fun, be with your friends, and maybe kind of act like kids again. These are our new members as of 2026. I got this data by setting medical forms, or membership forms we call them, aside. So I started that in January. I didn't file them with the others, so I was able to count them up today and get this data together for you so you can see that the majority come from Vienna, but we're also serving some other areas as well. And since January, we have gotten 75 new members, and we have retained most of them. You get a little rush after Christmas because everybody's like, oh, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to take these classes. So some of them drop off, but we do have 75 new members and holding. We're getting new people every day. So the senior center is well used. It is bursting at the seams. New class offerings, 2025 and 2026 that we've started. Luvia Hernandez and Alex White, our Zumba teachers, were certified in cardio drumming, and it has been a hit. I bought drums, buckets, and balls, the city, but people ended up having to buy their own because there's so much demand. It's a super fun class, it's great cardio, it's accessible to anybody because you can do it standing or you can do it sitting in a chair. In August of 2025, I got certified to teach Tai Chi. So I'm now a certified Tai Chi instructor. I teach a class called Tai Chi for Arthritis and Fall Prevention, and I'm currently working on a 73 Soon style Tai Chi class. And that Tai Chi, that particular sort, is upright. So there are lots of other kinds of Tai Chi, but this one in particular is upright, and it uses something called follow steps, so it's really safe and good for seniors. We also are going to have our water classes beginning in June, and we have added a second water aerobics class. Previously, we only had one a week. Now we're going to have 2 senior citizen water aerobics classes with Chris Poe, and she's going to do some deep water too with everybody, so that's pretty exciting. How are the classes going? Well, they're going pretty good. So this data comes from the Sign-In app, which is an app that we use to track who's in the building, how many people are coming to the classes, and just in case there's a fire, I know how many people are in the building. So every time somebody accesses the Sign-In app, I can see on a report how many people are doing it. So this isn't necessarily 900 people, it's 900 individual sign-ins, because of course there are people that come several times a week. But you can see, based on this, over 800. February, we had over 1,000. March, we had well over 1,000. April's not done yet, so we'll see how April shakes out. But again, the facility is well used. Our classes get great attendance, and if you're a senior and you've never tried one of our classes before, you're very welcome. Here are some of our programs outside of our exercise gym. We do a monthly lunch and learn. We have regular speakers as well outside the lunch and learns, but we try to provide educational talks. I don't invite anybody that's selling something like your third-party Medicare people. We don't do any of that. It's all just strictly for education and for their benefit. So this month we have Amanda Mott from Community Bank coming. She's going to talk to them about fraud. In previous months, we've had United Way, Legal Aid talking about Social Security. We had First Settlement Physical Therapy do fall risk assessments. So we do a little bit of everything, and you get a free meal. We do a monthly craft. So sometimes I bring somebody in to lead the craft. Sometimes I learn what to do and show everybody. Me and Catherine made paper a couple weeks ago. We made paper from recycled scrap paper and toilet paper rolls and put flowers in it and made it pretty. We're going to do bird feeder teacups in May, and in June we're going to have a tie-dye party. We do a monthly book club. I think one of our book club members is here. Lee's in our book club. There's no charge for anything. I get the books through the library, and if I get more than they can give me, I can get them from another library, so there's no cost to you. You don't have to buy a book. The group just decides what they want to read, and I go get it for them. We've increased our trips from 2 to at least 4 per year. Teresa Smith and I do the trips together. She helps me out with getting everything booked and organized and wrangling everybody. This year we have gone to Amish country so far, and then in May we're going to go to Roscoe Village, and we're going to do the canal boats in Coshocton, and they're horse-drawn boats. We also do special music performances. We have a lot of people that come to the Senior Center and they just want to share what they do. They do it for free. The River City Dulcimer players will be coming to play for us on May 12th. So that's something that we have coming up. We also have a lot of different themed parties, holiday parties, and a lot of times the seniors choose what they want to do, they plan it themselves, and they just give me a shopping list. Time to brag. I'm going to brag for a second. We have a float committee now. This was our first float committee for the Christmas parade, and yes, we did win second place non-commercial.
There was no bias. No bias.
There was no bias. One of our judges was a Senior Center member, and she was actually really hard on us and hard on other people too. She did not pull any punches with us. So just some pictures. We're having a great time at the Senior Center. That's just some of our trips and crafts and different things that we've had happening. And so yeah, that's 2026 so far. If you are interested in joining the Senior Center or more information, just call that phone number right there or stop in. I'm happy to give you a tour, and I'm going to be hanging around back here. If you're a senior, if you have a question, just come grab me and I'll help you out. But that's all I got.
We are very blessed to have Liz on staff, and if you've not been to the Senior Center, I encourage you, if you're 55 years and older, to go check it out. There are exercise equipment. There's space that you can go and just sit and read. They play games all the time. And I occasionally stop by when I know there's food, because I got to check on it, right? But it is good, and everybody has a wonderful time, and they've really come together as a family. Pickleball can be interesting because it gets quite competitive, on the old pickleball court. But everybody enjoys it, from that to the exercising to the fellowship. It's just a really good time. And Liz, thank you for everything that you do. I am grateful for it. Teresa, who also assists with the planning of activities and the trip, they make a really good team. And they'll come into the office and they'll say, hey, we've got an idea. And I know to brace myself at that point. But they've done a really good job. And Liz, thank you again. At this time, we're going to ask Craig and Mike to come up, and I know they look so excited, and go through the very enthusiastic presentation of where we are with our utility board programs and all of the activities. Many do not know, but there's a separation between the City Council and the Vienna Utility Board. The Vienna Utility Board has various members on it, also members from the community. Joe, stand up and let everybody see you. Joe, how long have you been on the Vienna Utility Board?
Oh, maybe about 8 years, I believe.
So if anything has happened in 8 years you want to blame somebody for, Joe's your guy. That's it. But they collectively come together and are a deciding body on a lot of those instances. Then a lot of those things go to the Vienna City Council when we have to make decisions on whatever it may be. And I'm very thankful for those volunteers that serve, like Joe, Michael Simmons, Randy Rapp sits also on that board. And it's just a wealth of knowledge between them. And their focus is providing you with the highest quality services. So at this time, come on up. I'm going to give you the clicker. And you can talk if you dance or do any karaoke. None? No, you can try.
Your way, Mike.
Yeah, your setup, it's the same presentation that you had before.
Oh, good. I just want to say a few things before we get started here. This is a part of the projects we've been working on. I've been a public works director in the city of Vienna for 28 years. Learned a lot in 28 years. I feel I'll learn a lot more when things continue on. Just in reference to what public works do, we handle the water department, the sewer department, the street department, the stormwater department, and I'm also the certified floodplain manager of the city of Vienna. I've one of about 32 of the states. So, we're going to go over our 5 and 10-year plans. We always have a 5-year running plan, but we'll actually stretch out to 10 years with water and sewer. We've got a lot of exciting things coming in Vienna, a lot of upgrades that need completed and done that we've been waiting for a long time. If you all get a chance, put some charts over to the right of me, to the left of you all. That'll show you where the projects are going to be, what the 5-year plan is, rate study, what the increase is going to be, and the last map is actually every road we've paved in the city in the last 28 years. Some of the roads are tri-colored because we've actually paved the same road 3 or 4 times. So get a chance to look at the maps. I'm going to turn it to Mike and let him explain the 5-year plan. So if you all got any questions afterwards, get with us and discuss them.
Thanks, Rick. We're going to start off with the sewer system. This is a phase 1 project. 2 we've identified so far. It is being done to eliminate some surcharging in the sewers, where the sewers were built many years ago for many fewer houses than what they're seeing now. So we're upsizing the line. It's 11th Avenue, starting from 17th Street, and we'll go over to 12th Street, and then from 12th Street, or across Grand Central, and into the pump station. So that will be nice. Try to get that done like right at Christmas time to limit people getting in and out of Lowe's and Sam's. The second part of it, and I think we've actually got some additional information here in a minute, but we're going to replace the force main, and that's wastewater that's generated here is pumped to Parkersburg for treatment. And again, the force main was put in probably 82. So what's that? It was 40 some years ago. And it's undersized. It's getting past its design life. They're having brakes on it. We're going to replace it with a larger size plastic pipe. This project is currently, we're probably, I guess, 70% complete with the design of it.
There's a pointer. You see the green pointer if you need to use it for it. No, it's not on that, but it's right here.
Just what's one thing about this, don't interrupt you, Mike. If you notice, I'll just shoot my finger. It's a great pointer I got. So this actual, the force main we're going to be putting in is going to replace the existing one. But if you notice down in this Parkersburg, this is the flood wall.
Speak out, Craig.
I need that mic. I can't use my pointer. If you notice the yellow line, that's the new force main location, or existing force main location. At the flood wall, you see this area right here. This is the current bike trail that Parkersburg has completed. And once we upgrade that force main and replace it, we're actually on the top surface of that for our access to be maintained. And we're also going to put the bike trail on top of that. So that'll extend that bike trail from Parkersburg up to at least 12th Street. So it's a great benefit for people who ride bikes and at least get you up to the mall from Parkersburg if you wish to travel. So it's kind of a dual purpose.
I think we'll go this way.
Yeah, if we
Then cross.
Yeah. Right, Jack?
And then we're looking at the second phase, which would be a couple years away. The first thing we're going to try to address will be some sewer rehabilitation where lines have deteriorated, there's water getting in. The one thing with Vienna, when you're paying water, per water to Parkersburg, every drop of water that's not supposed to be in there, you're paying for. So we're going to try to do a project where we address a lot of the infiltration, inflow, I&I, do a project where we try to eliminate as much as we can. And the second one is replacing the line from Woodland Heights down to 27th Street, 29th Street, 27th Street. This line is, again, undersized, it's in bad shape, and there's actually locations where it's sticking out of the ground, I think. So that will be part of it. And then looking at the cost, we're finishing that up. We should be done, gosh, that 2024 is wrong. It's supposed to be 2026. Be done later this year. Get to the construction phase. We're looking at hopefully being done with construction at the end of next year. With that too, I know the mayor talked about some of the funding that they got. Got $1 million grant from USCBA, and that hopefully be matched with another $250,000 grant from the governor's office. So we're working on that too. The water project we're just starting on, it's several little pieces. There's small layer of water main replacement. I know you can't see it, but it's really all the way across the city. We're doing what we call water main reinforcements. And what that is there's some dead end lines where water's not getting circulated, pressures are lower, so we're going to connect those. And the biggest part of the project, and I know that Craig can speak to that more, but there's been a lot of water line breaks on 16th Street and then up 13th Avenue. So we're going to start on Grand Central and end on Grand Central. Got this little triangle.
This, I think talk about mine. 16th Street project is a project I've been waiting for a long time. if y'all noticed in the past, we upgraded the line from our well field 7 and 8, which is at 32nd Street. We ran down River Road, down to 20th Street, crossed back over Grand Central, and then down Grand Central we tied into the new line 16th Street, which will tie as our well fields. We have 3 well fields in the city of Vienna. So what that allowed us to do in the past, if you notice when we had the C8 issue, we had to shut our system down, and we had to supply water from Parksburg up to it. But what that does is now all our well fields will be tied together with an adequate sized line. Before we had 2-inch tie-ins, 4-inch tie-ins. Now we're going to have a 12-inch tie-in. Well fields 9 and 10, which feeds the commercial district lower in town, all the way up to 60th Street, which is well fields up through 14. So at any time I have any kind of pump failures or upgrades I need to the well field, I can shut that down and it steers supply adequate water to the city residents. We can force water from one end of town to the other. So it's a great benefit you'll probably never see, and you probably never know, but if there's ever an emergency, again, we'll have that in place and we can take care of it.
Okay, and when we're looking at this, again, we just had started the design phase. We're looking at hopefully construction starting again early next year, 2027, and taking about a year to complete. One of the projects I know we've been talking about for a long time is Pond Run, and it was put in, well, changed, I guess, and it was in the 90s. Yeah. So in the 90s. So it hasn't been cleaned since then. If you go through the mall, and you'll see some of the clumps of just debris that's sitting in there where it's sat for how many years. So to help with really localized flooding, we're going to go and clean. This is a 2-phase project. Phase 1, we're going to clean basically the mall property, and then when the funds are available, we'll then cross Grand Central and go up to 28th Street. As part of the projects also, we will be dredging a couple of the dry ponds that serve Glenbrook and Greenmont. It's hard to tell, but I think it has 5 to 6 feet of soils on top of what the original pond was. So it may not look bad, but there's a lot there. We are looking, actually we're going to be bidding that here pretty soon. The plan being, if we can get it done at the beginning of summer, hopefully we'll be able to get dry enough weather that we can take it out without too much of a mess being made. Then we are working on what we're calling the 28th Street storm drainage improvements. For it, we're trying to eliminate some of the issues. Phase 1, we'll try to get it, that's 15th Avenue and 30th Street? 30th and 34th. In front of the middle school. So, originally it was going to be one big project where we were looking at about $6 million in cost. And working with the board, we decided to move it to a phase project where we're just doing the first phase now. The second phase then will extend up really to some of the problem areas on 28th Street. And then a third phase would be where the connections in that area. And then we're looking at the cost. For the first phase, you're about $1.5 million for construction. We're actually going to try to start this project next year when school's out and try to start right as soon as the break, work through the summer, and then be able to end when school's getting ready to start. We talked a little bit about the grants that we were getting or hoping to get for the wastewater projects. We had the $1 million congressional directed spending, and that's a grant. Governor's match of $250,000. the remainder being a loan through West Virginia DEP. The water project will be a IGDC loan of about $9 million. And then I guess I wasn't going to speak about that. But we also are trying to, for the 28th Street project, we're trying to get a $500,000 grant from DEP for green infrastructure. Oh, why? Oh, thank you. Yeah. The reason we're doing green infrastructure is to try to get some of the runoff down. As folks know, Pond Run fills up very quickly. We're trying to slow that flow down, trying to have as much water as we can leach into the ground so it's not run off. So it's not only addressing the flooding, but also hopefully addressing some of the issues with Pond Run. Looking, of course, this all costs money, and there are loans, and we're looking currently at the increase of both water and sewer rates. When you look at it, it's going to be a 3-year step increase where instead of trying to do it as one big hit to folks, we're going to do it over 3 years for both water and sewer. So that, I think, is going to be starting this year, right? So you can see the numbers up on the board, but currently you're about $17 for water, just over $30 for sewer. By the time everything goes through, we'll be at $30 for water, $45 for sewer. And then when you compare that and look at others, even though it folks here in the area. I think. Do you have anything else, Greg?
Again, you can see Public Works is working throughout the city on different projects. Some pretty exciting projects. I'm really excited about the 28th Street project, 34th Street, the stormwater issue. I don't know if y'all understand what's going on there, but what that does is it controls the flooding. It's in Pond Run. It's going to slow that water down. Several structures in the city keeps the flooding out of the city of Vienna. And I don't know if y'all know, but out in McDonough Corporation, we have a large dry dam structure out there that it's dry. We mow grass in it, 3-4 times a year. But when it rains, it gets about 30 feet of water in it. So and that's out at a certain rate. So that keeps the flooding down also. And then 28th Street, that 30th to 34th Street project will also help to do that also.
Craig, they can't hear you. Can you talk louder?
No.
Can you hold the mic?
You hear me? Dislike man in the city of Vienna because the road's being tore up, but we'll try to do the best we can. By the best employees that this city could possibly have. So if you see the guys out in the field, like Chad said, stop and talk to them. Wealth of knowledge. Every one of the employees are great and they take pride in the city. So just want to thanks. If you have any questions, see me afterwards and we'll talk.
Water and sewer are not one of those things that you take and somebody goes, why did you move to Vienna? Well, they have some of the most incredible pipes, anywhere. Have you seen their sewer lines? They're immaculate. Have you seen the water lines? They're absolutely wonderful. But this is one of the essential services that we owe it to our residents, to be able to provide you with clean drinking water, to provide you with a usable sewage treatment system. We just got a report back from the EPA that our water was tested, of course, that they do routinely, and we not only met, we exceeded several of those goals. So Craig and his crew do an absolutely incredible job at what they do. We want to invest into infrastructure. Many talk about it, little do it. We are taking one of the most aggressive projects in place overall, and we're going to enact it. As Craig said, we wanted infrastructure improvement. We're going to get it, but we're going to have to tear some stuff up to get there. So you're going to see the construction crews throughout the city tackling these needs so that they can provide for you that service. The only thing that I ask is that you be a little patient with them and that you be a little understanding as we go through this period of time. Because at the end of it, we want to not just resolve our issues, but we want to do it for our children and our grandchildren so that Vienna has all of the resources that they can. Most of the water and sewer lines that you see today that we have, well, you don't see them, but they're there, are 60 plus years old. If you look at the fire hydrants stamped on some of your city corners, 1939, what does that mean? That means that those water lines were hooked up when those hydrants were put in. What did you say?
My age.
Edie says they're her age. I didn't say anything. That was all you. If our pipes were doing half as good as you were, we'd be in good shape. Unfortunately, we're at a place now that we're fixing the repairs. Craig's crew's having to go in and fix places that we've already fixed before. And you know that's not sustainable. So we are taking action to provide these things for you. So Craig, kudos to you and your team. We appreciate you, I appreciate you, and our city council appreciates what you do. At this time, I'm going to ask Jack to come up, and he's going to give us a brief update on where we're at in our planning for the Vienna Freedom Festival. If you've not, has anybody never attended the Freedom Festival here in Vienna? Shame! No, we won't. It's okay. You're forgiven. No, it is absolutely incredible. It started off at the mall. Then when we started to look at last year's planning and we talked about it, we decided that collectively that Spencer's Landing was the place to move it. In the feel and the different atmosphere coming from having it on a very large, hot parking lot to having it in place on one of the area's most beautiful riverfront properties. And we host that now on Spencer's Landing, and we will continue to do so for years to come. Jack?
Okay. You did say keep it brief, right?
I would say compared to me, but don't do that.
Yeah, well, okay. So what I want to tell you is the Freedom Festival exists because of a collaborative partnership, really, that's established between Friends of Vienna and the City of Vienna, to where we could not put the festival on without the City of Vienna. The City of Vienna couldn't do it without us. But beyond that, what I also want to say about the Freedom Festival is it could be put on without the 80 to 100 relationships that we've developed with various individuals and businesses that help support the Freedom Festival. It's a great festival. One of the things we strive for with our festival is to make it family friendly. Family friendly includes a lot of things. One, trying to make it affordable. We struggle. There's 25 board members. We struggle a lot of times with setting a rate, setting a price for tickets for various events. We try to keep it to where it's affordable, to where you can take your family and have a good time and not get broke, basically. But we put a lot of work in. I told you we have 25 board members. We put a year's worth of work into the festival. I mean, people have no idea how much goes into it. The bands that we're getting right now, we started last August. Good thing we did, because most bands right now are already booked for their 2026 calendar. I just learned this last night. So the other thing that we ran into was finding a stage. Stages were ridiculous to try to find. Stage prices tripled on us. And what I wanted to tell you is, when we're planning this festival, we're signing contracts without money. So we're signing it with agreements of, we're going to raise money, we're going to raise the funds, we're going to do this. This festival this year, my wife's watching, she's got the exact numbers, but I think we're looking around $303,000 that it takes us. It's not all cash. Some of it's donated time, donated different items, but it's around $303,000, $260,000 probably in the cash range is what it takes. That's a lot of money to raise. But you know what I can tell you is, because of the efforts of a lot of people and the efforts of this city and the county, we've put on a festival that's clean, that's fun to go to, and that people feel safe. And you know, we've all been to festivals and you go, my gosh, I'm just not sure what I'm seeing out here and over here. You don't see that down there because we have the police department, we have the 911 command center, we have various members of the fire department that are there. So we do what we can to keep it safe. That being said, the other thing that we try to do with our festivals is make them cutting edge. I'm proud to be a West Virginian. I'm proud to be from Vienna. And, you know, let's face it, we've all heard the hillbilly thing, you know, a little bit behind times, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm tickled to death that we're bringing stuff to Vienna that a lot of communities around this area don't see. We brought the drone show, and you go, well, what's drones, you know? The drone show was done in response to two things. Post-traumatic stress disorder for soldiers, and two, people have pets, cats, dogs, and you go, good God, the fireworks, you know, please, when they stop doing that. We don't want to do that right in the middle of the city of Vienna. So that's the idea with the drone show. What I can tell you, the very first year that we did the drone show, it was like, how's this going to go? The first year that we did the drone show, we had visitors come up from Charleston because they heard Vienna's doing a drone show. What's this going to be about? Later, Morgantown, WVU came over to see the drone show, you know, to understand what it was about. Our drone show this year's tripled in size. It's going to be a fabulous show. You need to make sure you at least get down to that. What I can tell you is it's the 250th anniversary of our country. So we've gone out on a limb with what we're booking, what we're pricing, and what we're trying to bring to you. When I said cutting edge, we did the rodeo the last few years. We've changed it up a little bit this year. One of our smallest board members out of the 25 that hardly ever spoke, we were sitting at a meeting, and I mean, I maybe was here to go, hi, as she walked in, you know, but we said like, okay, what do we want to do? What's something else if we don't do the rodeo this year? And this little voice said, wrestling, you know, we want wrestling. So, you know, and I know a lot of you are like, oh, wrestling, I'm not sure, but there is a very definite following in the wrestling world. We just got contacted last night by Hacksaw Jim Dugan, which is an old name out of the past, and he was out in Las Vegas, and his wife wanted to know, okay, now Vienna is located next to Parkersburg, and they were just wanting to check in on everything. So it's a lot of fun. We get visitors from 12 states last year that came into it. I want to go real quickly through this year what we're doing. We've got food and craft vendors nationally, a carnival. The wrestling is on Thursday night, and there's an hour to an hour and a half meet and greet with the wrestlers. And there's 7 different wrestlers. They've done, you know, TV shows, everything. They're going to be there to meet you, to meet your kids, to sign, to take pictures and stuff. And you know, it's called Red, White, and Bruised Wrestling. So it's, we're looking forward to a good event and anxious to see what it's going to bring. Expect a lot of people coming out of the Chillicothe, Ohio area. There seems to be a lot of interest coming out of there. We end the evening by rocking the River Dance Party, which is just a little bit of dancing. The mayor will be the DJ. Yeah.
You can thank Craig Metz for that.
Yeah. Friday, we're going to have Big Truck Day, which, you know, it's always been a big hit. Bringing big trucks. The city's always done it. We tried to move it into the schedule this year. So Friday morning, it's going to be that. The other thing that we brought in was the wide world of animal shows, you know? And this guy's out of Pennsylvania, and he's going to come in, and we're going to have a tent. There'll be bales of hay or chairs there, depending on chairs being available. But you can bring your kids. We're gonna have like 3 shows that day, two shows on Friday, 3 on Saturday, different times posted on our agenda. This guy has every animal you can imagine, you know. I mean, he's got cheetahs, he's got wildcats, he's got owls, he's got all different kinds of things. But you bring your kids, you come there, and he's gonna try to educate your kids. You may get a chance to pet some of them. There's a picture with like a 24-foot python that he's letting kids go up and touch and stuff. Bringing a tractor trailer load of animals, so that should be, I think that's going to be really enjoyable. I hope so. That evening, the music begins. We have Jack and Davis Reed that's going to open up. Their grandfather is the Statler brothers, if you ever heard of them. They put on a great show. Next, we close up Friday evening was a band called Resurrection, which is a Journey tribute band. We looked between 2 tribute bands, and we debated. Resurrection really sounds like Journey, so went with that. Saturday again, we've got a car show, the food and the craft vendors, which there was a time when we could not get food vendors. And now we got a list of people wanting to come for food vendors, and we have to cut it off at like 14. Carnival rides, the Wild World of Animals again. Then comes something that really we kind of enjoy. The Patriot Parachute Team, which is a group of just that. They're Patriots, they're Navy SEALs. They're going to come. And they, you know, they're a little bit hard to see because they jump so high. And you can, oh, why would they do that? You know? But they do acrobats when they're coming to the ground. You'll see them swirling and twirling. And they're the size of the American flag they bring in. They're going to fly right over top of your head, wherever you're, depending where you're standing. But they're going to come in and they're going to land. They're going to do 2 jumps down here on Saturday. Out of Virginia, we pay more for them. We could have got cheaper, but what we liked about them, they really donate back one to the Wounded Warrior Project and other projects like that. They really donate back to service groups, and so we really support that. Then the music is Motorcycle Drive-By, which is the #1 band out in the state of West Virginia. You want to hear it. They imitate a lot of bands, a lot of music. They do it their own style. There's people specifically that donated sponsorship money because of Motorcycle Drive-By. The evening ends with something that we made a big change. You know, we've always looked at our age groups and what we tried to consider, and the band that we were closing out that night with is Smash Mouth, which I want to tell you, do it or that. They've got a lot of hits out. You may know them. They're more into the 90s and maybe 2000s. But anyway, one of their one song, 135 million views when you look on YouTube, and the movie Shrek, which maybe you, your kids, your grandkids used to go see. They had the movie, the hit song in the movie Shrek. So we were lucky to get them, and we really worked hard to get them and paid hard to get them. So I think it's going to be something that you can say, well, this is something for the 30 and the 40-year-old age group kids, and we're reaching out to them. And I think we're going to have a good thing, but many of you have supported our festival in different ways, supported the Friends of Vienna. We're really appreciative of it, and we're appreciative of the relationship with the city of Vienna, and we're proud, really proud of what our group and what we bring to the people in this area. It's a good show, it's a good festival, but it's got a lot of room that it can grow, and hopefully it does. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jack, for the abbreviated version of that presentation. It is always good to hear about what's going on. These are quality of life enhancements that we're able to bring to our city. We no longer have to travel outside of the area to be able to enjoy some of these wonderful activities because groups like Friends of Vienna are doing that and bringing that in. So we're thankful for the entire crew that works so hard to be part of that. At this time, I'm going to ask, we've got our delegate and our local senator, Bob Fehrenbacher, and Senator Azinger with us this evening, and they're going to take just a moment and share with us about what they have going on in what they've done in session. So who wants to start off first? He's pointing to you. We can only go one at a time. How about that?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Good evening. I realize that perhaps Mike and I are the last two speakers that are keeping you from moving on to other things that you have planned for the evening. So I want to thank you for coming here. This is, I guess, the first of perhaps an annual event where you have the opportunity to get together and hear what's going on in our fair city, as well as have other topics like hearing from your local officials. For those of you that I have not met, I am Bob Fehrenbacher. I am currently in the West Virginia House of Delegates, and this is part of my district, District 11. I've been in the House for 4 years, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve, the residents of Vienna and North Parkersburg. This session was a good session. I could say it was a better session, but it was a good session. We made some progress on numerous topics. We passed a balanced budget, which is required. You heard from Senator Barnhart that there was a 5% personal income tax reduction. That was another significant accomplishment. We made some strides on what I consider to be, frankly, one of the things that we must focus on, and that is economic development and job creation. The state, unfortunately, continues to lose population. Our young people are moving out of state, and our elderly population are passing away. And some of the youngsters are leaving because the opportunity is better somewhere else. And we need to turn that around. I feel very strongly about that. I'm currently campaigning, and that is the headline for what I will strive to do and I have been working on. For those of you that may have seen me up and down Grand Central Avenue and over at Rotary Plaza, I try to, spend my time, talent, and treasures to the benefit of this community and the greater Mid-Ohio Valley. The Rotary Plaza there by Horner and Harrison, the grass is cut by me. I've been doing it for over 5 years. Once a year, there's a group of people that goes up and down Grand Central, including in Vienna through the mall, that picks up trash and debris. And that's the Rotary Club. One of those people is yours truly. You want to come out and help do that some more? Saturday we'll be down at Rotary Plaza at 8:30. I share those not for you to pat me on the back, but as a demonstration of what I believe is critically important for each and every one of us. It's one thing to sit back and snipe and criticize people. I believe that what we need to do is work collectively to make things better. We heard today from the mayor and the various members of the utility board and others, including what's in stock for our festival. Let's not complain about what's going on. Let's take up the mantle and make progress. I'll be happy to answer questions, but again, I'm cognizant that we've been here a little while. I'm Bob Fehrenbacher, and come May 12th, when you cast your vote, consider me there. Thank you.
Senator Azinger, if you would. We also have with us this evening our Commissioner Blair Couch. He said he would be here and around to offer his input if you had any questions. So he'll be here also to answer any of those following this. to be able to provide you with that information. Senator Azar.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you for folks that put this on and you folks that came out this evening. And this has been very interesting and very fun to watch. I moved to Vienna, my family, in 1979. My dad grew up here as a kid. My mom still lives here. And my dad lived here until a couple years ago when he passed away. But Vienna's it's a great town. I grew up in Parkersburg. Parkersburg's a great town too. But anyway, I appreciate this time. It's fun to see the exciting things going on in Vienna. So we live on 51st Street. That's where we moved in 1979. And I know I only lived 25 or 30, but I'm actually 61. So we moved to 51st Street, and then when we lived in Indiana for a while, we moved back here about 12, 13 years ago, and moved back to 51st Street. It's a great street, great part of town. But so anyway, I am in the Senate. I got elected to the Senate. I got elected to the House in 2014 after my dad served for 20 years in the House of Delegates, and then 2 years later, the Senate seat came open. I ran for that. Got elected in 16. So I've been in the legislature since 2014, and that was the year that we, as Republicans, became the majority. And we've done, I think, some great things since then, including becoming a right-to-work state, including tons of tort reform. We were in a category called tort hell. We were so bad. But we went to work and we passed some very important tort legislation. And you are hearing that we've lost population. I've heard the same thing, Bob, but I've also heard, I believe, that we are turning the corner in that and starting to gain population. There are certain parts of the state that are growing, and some rapidly. If you go to Jefferson, Berkeley, and Morgan County, and the Eastern Panhandle, Mon County, you got Nucor down in Mason County and Putnam County. So there's parts of the state that are creating jobs that are starting to hum. And since we are late, I was going to talk about a couple of bills that I was lead sponsor on, but all of us have talked about getting rid of the income tax and how we passed that bill and keep chipping away on it. And the reason is because there really is no tax that you can get rid of that will have the factor of bringing in wealth creators, job creators, populations in the state of West Virginia. And there's kind of a competition going on now for states to get rid of their income tax. And we just got rid of another 5% of our income tax to, I think Fred said over 32%. I knew it was close to that, but that's a big deal. 30% of our income tax over, I don't know, the last 4, 5, 6 years, and becoming a no income tax state is a huge factor. Let me just read something real quick. The history of the income tax, and this will not be as boring as what it sounds. So how many of you know who Art Laffer is? The Laffer curve, wrote the Laffer curve on the napkin, worked for Reagan, came up with Reagan's tax cuts that brought in huge amounts of money into the Treasury. And the same thing's happening in West Virginia, by the way. As we cut these income taxes, we are not seeing the income tax revenues in the red. We're seeing it in the black. That's what happens. Because when you cut the income tax, you create more job creators. Now listen to this. This is Art Laffer being interviewed. I'm just going to read 2 quick paragraphs. Every state that implemented an individual income tax since 1960 had both its gross domestic product and total tax revenue decline. Every state that implemented an income tax, what happened? Its gross domestic product and total tax revenue declined. Of the 11 states that introduced an income tax in that time frame, 1960, the 11 states that introduced an income tax, not one succeeded in boosting their total revenue. Not one. 11 states put in an income tax. How many boosted total revenue? None. The income tax, getting rid of the income tax is a huge deal. Now, who were those 11? Connecticut, New Jersey, Ohio, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, Maine, Illinois, Nebraska, Michigan, Indiana, West Virginia. So here we are. Getting rid of the income tax is the state income tax is a huge deal. Let me just say something to you real quick, and I'll sit down. There's a group called ALEC. Has anyone heard of ALEC? They're have you been to any of their? Yes. Yeah, so they're very good, and they're a group that they introduce policy and they bring conservative legislators in, and they put out a book every year on the performance that states are having and rank them 1 to 50. Last year, 2025, I believe it was, West Virginia ranked 46th. Now, listen to this. That is what happened in 2025. What is projected to happen in 2026 with West Virginia, going by certain indicators like tax, what we do with tax cuts and so on, West Virginia is projected to be ranked next year 16. 46th to 16. So we're doing some good things in West Virginia. We just need to keep doing. We need to keep cutting taxes. We need to keep cutting regulations. We need to have fiscal conservatism. And there's no reason, we don't, John Denver's song said that we're stranger to blue waters. We don't have to have blue waters to be a great state, to be a no-income tax state. We can do it. We can be, we're West Virginia. We can do great things in the state. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mary, for having this forum, and I appreciate seeing my neighbors tonight. God bless you.
This evening's intent was to bring our residents and our business owners together, along with your elected officials, to be able to keep you informed about what's going on. We are going to continue to do this. We are going to continue to put out information, and we're going to continue to get updated for you so you can know what's going on in, this is your city. This is your home. I was born here. I was a year old when you moved to your house. I live now beside my dad. So when he wants to complain, it's not going to do any good because who's his neighbor, right? I know, right? Vienna is an incredible place to call home. This is an exciting time to call Vienna. And to call Vienna home, and I have people all the time, they say, Chad, what is it that you need me to do? I need you to stay positive. I need you to stay energetic. I need you to stay supportive so that we can accomplish the things that we want to accomplish for all of our residents. Complaining gets you what you get. But if you really want to make a difference, step up to the plate, do the job, provide the service, mow the grass, do those things that need to be done. And rather than taking a negative route, why don't you look at a positive route and say, Chad, what can I do? And when you do that, I guarantee you, my friend, you and I together can make a difference. I am so very thankful for our city council. If those of you that are here from city council, would you stand up this evening, please? From the Vienna City Council. Parkersburg may be here learning how it's done. Harry was here earlier. city. Harry was here earlier, and Jim Leach is, he's in Tampa, so I hate him a little bit right now because he's enjoying Florida. But your city council, I can confidently say, is focused on providing the very best resources we can for you. Yes, we have our differences. Yes, we communicate those differences. But the great thing is, your city council comes together, we talk about these things, and we find common ground to be able to provide our residents and our businesses with the highest quality of services that we can. That is my commitment to you. That is their commitment to you. And we just look forward to great times ahead. So with that, I thank each and every one of you for coming out and being a part of this tonight. I pray and hope that this has been beneficial, that you will leave here tonight and you have learned something about what's either happened or going to happen or what's in the works in your city. And I encourage you, don't hold on to that information. Take it out into the community. Share with them about what we're doing and what the exciting things are that are going on in Vienna. As always, my door is always open. If you want to come talk to me, you can come talk to me. Regardless of what it is, you can come talk to me. My door is open to each and every Vienna resident and beyond to be able to meet the needs of our city. Thank you for being here tonight. We look forward to great days ahead. Take care, God bless, and have safe travel home.